Hello, everyone, and welcome. So, your brain isn't tired, it is underfueled. Your brain fog, memory slips, and cognitive decline. Your brain fog isn't tired, it's underfueled. Your brain fog, your memory slips, and cognitive decline aren't just aging. They're a fuel and inflammation problem, right? It just doesn't happen. You want to give the brain the right fuel so that it can pull out the inflammation, and then all the machines, like in your brain and the neurons, and all the glial cells, everything can do what it needs to do. This is prevention, and it's actually in your hands. I'm Dr. Holly Donahue, a naturopathic doctor with over 2 decades of treating people with natural wellness around brain health. And so I want to ask you something. If you've ever walked into a room and you forgot why, you lost mid-sentence, or you felt like this like 3 p.m. brain fog roll in, I want you to hear this. Your brain, it's not broken, you guys. Your brain is not old. Your brain, it is undernourished and underfueled, and it's inflamed from all the food and all the thoughts. I see this in my clinic every single day, right? You have memory loss, or patients have memory loss. They have cognitive decline, Alzheimer's. Did you know that's type 3 diabetes? I'm still amazed because I heard it such a long time ago that we're calling it type 3 diabetes, but nobody's talking about it. They're showing up earlier more than ever since I started practicing, right? And it's like the science is truly clear. Much of this is driven by the metabolism, how you're fueling the body, inflammation. And you know what? The truth is that these things can be changed. And I'm going to show you how right now. So, by the end of our connection time, you're going to understand why your brain runs on fuel, the foods and inflammation that are quietly damaging your brain, and the exact labs to ask your doctor to stop guessing. Are you ready? The brain is a fuel hungry organ, about 2% of your body weight, but it burns and less than 20% of your energy. It never clocks out, it's always going. And when fuel delivery falters, the brain just shuts off. And the first symptoms are exactly what people dismiss: the fog, the poor recall, like not remembering why you walked into a room, the slow processing, that low mood, that low energy. The truth is that the brain actually runs on two fuels. It can run on glucose, and it can run on ketones. As we age and insulin resistance occurs, the brain cells actually lose the ability to actually use glucose efficiently. That's the energy gap, you guys. That's where an alternative, cleaner fuel comes in. This is where I talk about, and I use it with my Alzheimer's patients. It's called BDNF. It's actually how you fertilize your brain. It's the initials stand for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's like how you get your neurons to grow. It drives growth. You want your brain to be plasticity, to be able to move, right? It's called neuroplasticity, have new connections, and it actually helps protect against neurodegeneration. So when I start to see forgetfulness and cognitive decline in patients, I will actually start to look at this as a supplement. But the truth is that ketone, the body's beta hydroxybutyrate, directly switches on BDNF production when it needs to. This is one reason that how you exercise and moving your body as well as fasting is so powerful for the brain. Guess what they do? They raise ketones, which actually raises your BDNF. So how else can you raise it? 100% moving your body, especially longer, right? There's times when we want short bursts. There's times when we want longer exercising, right? But the longer one for the brain during endurance, that gets the work that generates ketones. Then we can also look at time restricted eating, which is intermittent fasting. That can help you nudge your ketone production. Sleep, I cannot tell you. I talk about sleep all the time. You need sleep for your brain to heal and your brain to detoxify, as well as you need that sunlight every morning. Some of the ketone supporting fats that I talk about are so important, and we'll get into this in a minute, but one of the things that is coming to my mind right now, the supplements, is medium chain triglyceride oil. It's also known as MCT, right? It actually helps, it's shuttled straight to the liver and is converted into ketones. And this is a fuel that is small enough that can cross your blood-brain barrier, and it can feed neurons directly by bypassing the broken glucose pathways. It's burning ketones produces fewer free radicals than burning glucose, so it helps lower inflammation. And human studies actually show that MCT oil can induce mild ketosis, and it can actually improve cognition in people with early Alzheimer's slash dementia cognitive decline. It helps fill in those energy gaps. You really want to be cautious with medium chain triglycerides. I've seen it be reactive with individuals, especially you want to be careful if you have a fat challenge in digesting fat. So I always suggest you want to start small, right? Maybe a quarter teaspoon to a half a teaspoon, and you can put it in. I have many patients put it in their smoothies. Some patients prefer to put it in their tea or their coffee. When you pair it with a lower sugar diet, so that the brain can actually shift so that it can use ketones, right? It is actually best in the morning or even before you do mental work. As well as we're on this fats, the other healthy fat is DHA, omega-3. It's literally one of the building blocks for the brain that's completely studied. We do have some studies with EPA as well. It's concentrated in the memory center, which is the hippocampus cortex of the brain. And it keeps your neurons, your membranes fluid and movable, right? And it actually supports the new connections that happen, protects the blood-brain barrier, and is powerfully anti-inflammatory. I started out with your brain is inflamed, right? And so this is a powerful anti-inflammatory, and it competes with the pro-inflammatory omega-6 that most people overconsume, and I hope that's not you. Higher omega-3 status is associated with lower dementia risk, right? Some of the food sources that I think of is wild caught salmon, wild caught halibut, sardines, mackerel, anchovies in water, not in oil. I also think of flax seeds, walnuts, raw extra virgin olive oil. Don't cook with olive oil, and avocado oil, right? So the research actually points to, and this is just, please check with your practitioner. So it's roughly 1,000 to 2,500 milligrams a day, and you want to get that in combination with EPA and DHA for cognitive benefit. You want to really know that you can digest fat well, right? I'm just merely making suggestions. And you want to make sure you can look at your omega-3 index and you want it to target greater than 8%, right? So you've got to stop fearing fat, you guys. Fat does not make you fat. You want to start fearing sugar. That's where we're getting inflammation in the brain. The brain is literally, I've seen numbers from 60 to 80% fat, right? So 60% is on the low end. And it's actually been known to run on good, healthy fats. Now, if we look at sugar, sugar is inflammatory for the brain. This is urgent. Know where your sugar's coming from because chronic high sugar, chronic high simple carbs, right? High glycemic eating, it doesn't just spike your waistline. It sets the brain on fire. All that sugar. Every single sugar that you eat, the sugar spike is a match that's thrown into your brain, right? High glucose slash sugar will actually trigger neural inflammation through that, what we call the NLRP3 inflammasome and even NF kappa B pathways, pumping out inflammatory cytokines like IL-1 beta and TNF alpha. These cytokines directly damage and weaken your blood-brain barrier, letting more inflammatory floods in, and this becomes a vicious cycle, right? Add in your mitochondrial dysfunction and oxidative stress on top of that, and you get faster memory and processing speed is going to decline and it can show up years before a diagnosis. So if you're questioning whether you're forgetting things or you're walking into a room or you're not shutting cabinets or you used to be able to do something, you don't remember how to do it, please take that seriously, right? This is all related to your hormonal health, your brain. And Alzheimer's, like I mentioned, it's type 3 diabetes, and Europe has been talking about it for a very long time, right? So, what can you do right now? You can start cutting out sugars in your soda, in your juices, refined flours, any ultra processed foods. Be aware of what's going into your body. Build your meals around high protein and healthy fat and really good quality sugar because that actually blunts the sugar response and the spikes. So when you're having high spikes, low spikes, I mean, it affects the whole body. A studied nutrition plan that we know works tried and true, if you need to look up some recipes or ways to add, is anchor into the Mediterranean diet, right? Whole food patterns. Use your plate, not your willpower and not your pantry. Know what you're actually putting on your plate. And then another thing, a way to utilize the sugar that you've taken, walk after your meals. Even 10 minutes is going to help you lower that post glucose spike. Every time, I want you to hear this, every time that you spike your blood sugar, you're throwing a match at your brain, right? Remember, we said the brain is 60 to 80% fat. Stop, you guys. Stop fearing fat and start fearing sugar. You want to heal your gut in order to protect your brain. You've got to be aware of how much sugar that you're getting in your gut. The gut and brain are in this constant two-way conversation that we call the gut-brain axis through the through the vagus nerve, right? So it's other nerves and hormones in the immune system. And if your gut is disrupted, hence you hear us all talk about your microbiome, that's going to give us dysbiosis, which is a disrupted microbiome. And it can even lead into a leaky gut barrier, which is going to drive body wide, including the brain, inflammation. And it's going to reach the brain and impair your cognition. Healthy gut bugs make short chain fatty acids like butyrate, right? And that butyrate is going to lower your inflammation. It's going to strengthen your gut lining and support neuron growth. You cannot have a calm brain on top of an inflamed gut. If your gut is inflamed and your body thinks it's under stress, it's not going to help with your hormones and your brain is going to be thrown off. So I like to think of like the gut healing as the four R's. Remove, know what your triggers are. Sugar, ultra processed foods, simple starches, industrial seed oils, which are in everything, including when you go buy meals at high end grocery stores. Many of them have seed oils in them now. Alcohol, start to identify what you're eating and if you have any food sensitivities. That's remove. Then you want to start replacing what's missing. Is your digestive enzyme strong enough? Are you getting in enough adequate protein? Do you have enough fiber for the gut so that you're actually breaking down the food with the digestive enzymes, pancreatic enzymes, HCl? Do you have enough B12 in the gut, right? So that you're actually breaking down your food. Reinoculate is another key one. Once your gut starts to heal, I don't take this step until I know the gut's starting to heal. Then we're looking at you, sure, you can take a probiotic, but how about if we eat pre and probiotic foods, right? So I think of like if you do okay with dairy, you yogurt, you can do kefir, then we're stepping into the sauerkraut, kimchi, miso. Those are very well studied, known probiotic foods. Then we're looking at prebiotic fibers. Many of these foods you all eat daily, but start to be aware. It's like onions and garlics and leeks, asparagus, and any resistant starches. What does this do when I say reinoculate? It actually feeds the good bacteria. So you want to consider a targeted probiotic. Lastly, out of the four R's, we want to look at repairing the lining, like bone broth, L-glutamine, zinc, polyphenol rich foods that are colorful, right? We tell you to eat a plate full of color, okay? Omega 3s, we just talked about that. It's an anti inflammatory. And my favorite, deep sleep and stress reduction. That vagus nerve is part of that. If you're in that fight and running away from an emergent situation, it's very hard to repair the gut. You cannot have a calm brain if your gut is inflamed. Your brain, it's not tired, it's actually underfueled. I want you to hear that. You're not giving it the nutrition, the music, the movement, the sleep, the positive things that you think about. It's becoming inflamed. So I want you to stop guessing, and I'm going to equip you with some tools that you can actually ask your doctor for. These are actionable, and these you can actually get these labs completed. Even if your doctor will not do it, many of the functional medicine labs online, you can actually purchase and get these labs completed. I don't guess, you guys, I test. And then as I heal and I get to the root cause of what's causing a challenge with the patients, then we make pivots based on supplements, based on nutrition, based on sleep. We create that strategy plan together. Homocysteine is very key. It's modifiable brain atrophy risk marker, right? You want it to be preferably lower than 7. I like it lower than 5. You need B12 and B6. If you have high homocysteine, which is in the cardiovascular system, it's like glass to the arteries. This has been tied to faster brain shrinkage. You definitely need vitamin B12, right? Methylmalonic acid and folate. If you have a deficiency, you can actually mimic dementia. MMA catches functional deficiency serum B12 misses. So MMA is actually the test that you want to have done. Vitamin D 25 OH. Many people are doing 125 hydroxy as well. I am testing 25OH in both. You want that level to be 75 to 80, not higher, not lower. That supports the immune system. It turns the immune system on and shuts it off. It actually also helps you support your mood and your cognition. Now, we talked about omega-3 index, right? We talked about that when we talked about the fats. You want that to be greater than 8. I preferably like it 10%. This is the brain protective fat that actually is in your cells, right? Highly sensitive C-reactive protein. This is a general inflammatory marker. We also have quantitative CRP as well. You don't want to test this if you have an acute illness, but this will help us look at general inflammation. We want that less than 3. Then if we know you have sugar cravings and you're holding on to weight and you're feeling bloated and things, and I test this anyway. Let me just step in there. Hemoglobin A1C and fasting insulin, which you can also test HOMA-IR, right? Many doctors aren't testing this, and I'm seeing prediabetes and diabetes come in when a primary care physician hasn't tested. I'm not saying anything bad about doctors, but why wouldn't we just test this, especially insulin, to see what's going on? Hemoglobin A1C you want to be 5.2 to 5.4, right? I like it right between that. And then fasting insulin, I want less than 5, even like 3. Those numbers help you with the metabolic brain picture, right? With that fuel. So a normal hemoglobin A1C with fasting insulin can still signal early trouble, right? And so you want to know what those numbers are and get them in check because there's ways that we can do this. Comprehensive lipid, not just your basic lipid panel. I also look at ApoB and lipoprotein A. That is the vascular risk to the brain, and many are not testing it. They're just testing your total cholesterol, your HDL, your LDL, maybe your VLDL, but you want to test ApoB and lipoprotein A so that you know what you're actually working with. Then 100% a full thyroid panel. Low thyroid equals fog and low cognition. So that is another marker that definitely needs to be tested. Ferritin, iron studies, CBC, CMP, these are baselines that we're always looking at. And if I look at the patterns on all 3 of these tests, even an iron panel and a TIBC and an iron saturation, I can kind of tell if the patient has brain fog. Lastly, a marker that I don't always test, but I want to share it with you because many test, especially if my patient's family had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, right? Remember, Alzheimer's can't really truly be diagnosed without a brain autopsy, but yet they have really good, clear ideas, the neurologist, that you're stepping into that, right? But ApoE is a genotype and it carries benefits that actually will help benefit everything that you're doing above. But that's actually a gene. And so you have to be even more cognizant if you have the gene. Again, I am not guessing when I test. I get these numbers, we evaluate them, we get them into the green zone, we feed the brain what it wants because it's often undernourished, and we fuel it and the fire goes out, right? We fuel the brain. Let me recap here with BDNF, with ketones like MCT and healthy fats. We slow the sugar, the inflammation, the fire, right? We cut the sugar, we heal the gut, and we're always measuring it. The body needs to be measured to see what's going on here. Do you hear me that I said none of this is age? It's about what we're putting inside our body. That's dis-ease. We want to stop the body from getting cognitive decline, forgetfulness. We're overworking, we're doing too much for the system. It's all about inputs. And you, my friends, you can all control the inputs. I am watching memory loss and early dementia walk into my clinic, as I mentioned before, younger and younger. I refuse as a doctor to accept it that it's inevitable because it's not. It's not inevitable. And this is why I'm doing this. It is how you're fueling your brain and you're under fueling it. And so go back through, listen to this, get your labs completed, know where you're at, and know where you're going when it comes to healing your brain. I hope this was super helpful because you can stop this in your tracks. It's all how you treat your body. I am sending you guys so much love, and here's to a healthy, less inflammatory brain. You've got this. Reach out. I'm here to support you and have a beautiful